Okay, it's recording. All these recording apps, they always trip me up. Welcome everyone. Welcome. And I'm really excited to be here today with the amazing Cindi because Christy, myself, and Jess had the opportunity to spend a really great amount of time with Cindi. And what I recognize is that the amount of time that I had been in this industry, there was a piece that had been missing from understanding how to plan with precision. And I know that we really talk about us doing this a different way and being in energetic alignment. And you know what Vanessa always says is that in order to do that, it requires us to have precision in what we are aiming for. And when I think about that, I always think of what Carol Elizabeth always says is that in order for us to do amazing quantum leaps in everything that we're doing, we have to have an impossible dream because the impossible dream stretches us and brings it into alignment. And one of the pieces that really anchored in for me that we started going over last week is knowing our numbers and knowing the numbers so that we can really treat this as a business and set ourselves up for success. Because no matter what, whether it's 1%, 5%, 10%, 20%, as long as we're moving the needle forward, then we're growing. And when Cindi was able to break down those numbers for me and us, I was blown away by it's actually simple. And I had created a story that I wasn't a numbers girl for a very long time. And I realized that actually that created distortion in my business. And so I wanted us to be able to set up next month for huge success. And that doesn't mean this month's over, right? We're still actively moving towards all the things we're going for. The Genesis Packs 10 gets you a trip, the ticket to the VIP in the Azores. 5 is your ticket to the event in Portugal. And then, of course, those same points and those same Genesis Packs are also giving you access to the 12, the safari trip at the end of the month. So every Genesis Pack is 100 points that goes towards your year-long tally. And also really getting you in that front row seat to the leadership when we do the Mexico launch. So there's a lot happening. And Cindi went over all of that in the corporate call. But just remember that even though we're talking about next month right now, this month is still active for a few more days and really putting everything that we have into that to be able to set ourselves up for success. But I wanted to ask Cindi to do a little Q&A because one of the things I've learned about Cindi is that when she comes on these calls, she's a very, very humble servant leader. And it wasn't until we sat down at lunch, and I think her and Hayden are very similar, that when we talk about these, it's never about them. But what I will say is what I learned about her is what she did in this industry is what most people strive to do. And she was able to make an impossible dream come into alignment financially, but more importantly, in the team and community that she built. And it blew me away. Like being able to build to a 6-figure monthly residual income in under a year to me is like, wow. And I hope that stretches you like it stretched me, because I looked at her and I was like, how is this woman who cares more about every single person's success? Clue, success leaves clues. And then I find out that behind the scenes, she's actually a badass B word, like literally, like badass. So, Cindi, welcome. And I would love for you to just share a little bit about why you're passionate about this industry, because you're like what you built before. Even though we're not looking to the past, but I had no idea. And I would love for everyone to hear a little bit about how you got into this industry and what lit you up about it.
You're so sweet. Thank you for all of that. It's interesting, right? So I came from the corporate world prior to network marketing. Didn't really even know anything about network marketing, actually. It wasn't something that I was familiar with. I didn't really know anything about entrepreneurship either. I was very much like that person that kind of had a goal and it was like, this is the next step. This is what you do. And there's no other path. It was just super linear, right? It was like, get good grades, like go to college, like get a scholarship, graduate as fast as you can. I was 20 years old. I graduated college. Like I was like, what? I don't know what I was racing for, but I was like racing some sort of this was the formula. Like that's all I knew is to just, okay, well, just do whatever is in front of you the best that you can. And it was fine. Like I don't have any complaints about the journey. I actually wouldn't change any of it. But I graduated college and I was like, what do I do now? I'm like, this is crazy. They never even told me now I guess I get a job. So then I started climbing the corporate ladder because again, like all I knew was corporate America. And what was funny about that is that I didn't even get a job in anything that I studied in college. Like I did for 6 months to a year, and I realized that that didn't pay any money. And I was like, well, I didn't do all of this to like not make any money because I had a degree in photography. And so I was like, no one told you in college, like, I was like, okay, now what? And they're like, oh, we don't tell you that part, right? So I'm like, okay, this is so wonderful. And now I need to go have a career. So I ended up just getting a job basically just in the corporate grind and kind of the same thing, like moving from one job to another, like, do the best that you can and either get promoted or get recruited. And it worked until it didn't. And when I say it worked until it didn't, it was really when I became a mom that I realized I was just not ever going to work for myself. I was never going to be able to take the skill set that I brought to all of these companies and leverage it because I was owned by them. They owned my time. And so all of a sudden I realized like success didn't really mean anything. My definition of success had completely wildly shifted because I no longer value the same things. And it didn't mean that I wanted to get rid of those things. And that was kind of this interesting moment. And I reflect on that as like this moment that everything shifted because I didn't want to no longer be successful. I wasn't like, oh yeah, now I'm a mom. So yeah, I don't really want success. I mean, I thought about it for like 30 seconds, but I didn't want to give that up, but I just felt like no matter how hard I worked, if I wasn't at work, if I wasn't there present, then the employer, and this was not just one employer, this was my experience with many of them, the experience would shift, meaning that they wouldn't have the same results if I wasn't there. And so if you add that up, like, well, what does that mean? Well, it means you need to be there. And what does that mean? It means that your personal life and the things that you actually care about get put on the back burner. So in walk network marketing. And I have a friend that is telling me all about this product and this company. And I had known what network marketing was at this point because, in my 20s, I would say like I had a couple of friends that used some products like very casually, right? Still not understanding like the depth of the business. And until one day I saw what somebody made and I was like, come on. There's no way. Like you're making like way more than I'm making, and I'm already making a multiple six-figure income in the corporate world. Like I'm doing really well. And then I was like, you're making how much? Hold on. Like I was like, this has got to be a joke. You're doing what? And I realized like I was like, why did no one tell me about this? Like I literally was like, nobody gave me the memo, nobody taught me. And so my intro into network marketing, as far as my personally, like the decision that I made was I was going to be the best network marketer you've ever seen because the fact that they were getting paid to do this, I was like, if you can get paid to do this, I can't wait to see what I could do. And I had no idea what I was doing, but truth be told, I just followed others that had done what I wanted to do. I was like, show it to me like I'm in kindergarten. And there were a lot of people that thought I was absolutely crazy just because probably the same thing as me. They just didn't get it. But it was that moment where I thought, well, why should I have to choose? And that was a big thing for me. Like, why can't I have a really successful, abundant career and also be present and also be with my kids and just be able to prioritize being a mom without the sacrifice of losing the career? Because when I became a mom and I was in the corporate world, I felt that push pull. Like I felt like, gosh, I really feel like I have to choose. Like I can do both, but I can't be great at both. And I didn't like that. It felt wrong. It felt like I was doing all this, like doing all the things, leapfrogging over every whatever, right? Because I thought that was what would give me the life, like the house, the car, the vacations. And that's part of it. But again, like it wasn't until there was more that I realized there was more. So my entrance into network marketing was it was about me initially. It was about like who do I prove wrong, which I love doing by the way. And for those of you that want to prove people wrong, I'm your girl. I'll help you. It's so fun to do. I That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to prove everyone wrong that thought I was nuts. And so I was like, well, this isn't an option. Like this has to work because I just said it was going to work and I'm not going to look like a dumbass. So we're going to go figure out this network marketing thing and we're going to be really, really great at it. And I don't know what that means, but that actually shifted probably, I don't know, 6 months to a year into the journey of network marketing. And that's when I realized that it actually wasn't even about me. And so I got this really like I was really inspired at first to prove people wrong and to just challenge myself too to be able to do it. But it shifted when I realized that the only way I could actually have success was by helping others. And that was really different. And if I were to reflect, I would say it was really scary because in the corporate world, if somebody didn't do their job, I could just fire them. It was really that simple. Like, I'm going to hire you. This is your job. If you don't do it, you're fired. If you do an amazing job, you get promoted. Like, it's very linear in the corporate world. Like, we pay you a salary. This is what you're expected to do. If you don't do it, okay, bye. Someone else will. So I was a bit terrified actually that I wouldn't succeed. I was determined to succeed despite the fear because I didn't want anyone to think that I made the wrong choice and couldn't do it. So it was my own ego, my own pride saying, I'm going to do this. But I didn't know because I realized in network marketing it wasn't about me. And I'd say that was like the biggest kind of aha moment and the biggest shift, which in your question, Gigi, that's kind of the first thing I thought about when I was like, here was the journey. And then the realization when you said like pouring into others, it's actually, there really is no other way. And that's the most beautiful and abundant part of network marketing is in affiliate marketing, you don't have to do that. You can just sell whatever product feels aligned. But network marketing is about building the network. It's about who you build up. It's about the quality of leaders that you support. And your paycheck number one is a direct reflection of the number of lives you change. So you can make a decision whether those are the lives like you want to change through personal reach or how many millionaires you want to create underneath you and how many lives you want to affect through like the domino effect of who you coach. So that's my story of how I got into network marketing. And once I realized that like that was what it was, and once I realized that you could directly make that impact for someone else and you could completely change their life, whether it's a really successful business person that then gets to level up and explore this, or whether it's somebody that didn't believe in themselves and they just needed somebody to believe in them. And once you do that and you kind of feel you feel what that feels like, I don't know, for me there was no going back. So I hope that answered Gigi.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, I'm looking in the comments and it's like the relatability of the story is so crucial because for me, when I realized that Cindi, that, well, she's the person behind this new comp plan, because I sat there and I said to her, I'm like, I don't care what anyone's done. Like, I want to know that it can work. And when I heard her story and when I learned about what she had built and Taryn, and I realized that we were really equipped for success. And one of the things that I didn't realize, because I've never built in this style of compensation plan, and that's not an excuse, it's just I didn't know. And I recognized that there was a lot that you could do numbers wise to be able to set people up for success. And like Cindi said, it's not about your numbers per se. In the beginning, it is because you have to set a foundation. Yet it's really about helping other people achieve their goals and knowing their numbers. And so when you went into the Cindi, I loved that you weren't looking for a lot of customers. You really dialed into looking for those leaders and helping them grow, whether it was 1, 10, 30, whatever percent every single month. So what does that look like? And how would you explain that to someone who's coming in looking to be a leader and really maximize the compensation plan?
Yeah. Well, that is true. And actually I had a lot of pushback from that because I sort of kind of just created the way that it felt right for me, which I went into it to be super successful and to have a business. And I remember the gentleman who was mentoring me, and I remember he showed me his paycheck, and I was like, okay, so that's the goal. Because he was like, here's my check. I've been here 6 months, and this is what I did. And I mean, I just remember it was like $37,000, and it was 6 months in. And I was like, that's your check this month? And you've been here 6 months. Okay, great. That's what I want to do. And so I like locked in with somebody that had done what I wanted to do. And then I forgot the long game. Like I knew what the long game was. I knew where I wanted to go with it. And then I said, let's break down the numbers into a short game because most people won't have the vision, right? Like I know that my vision is bigger than most people, and you might have a bigger vision than most people, and you might be bringing in people that don't think as big as you. But I saw, okay, if I could do this in 6 months, like what does this career look like? Like what am I scaling this to if somebody was able to do that in 6 months? So at that point for me, I understood, I got inspired, I knew the vision, but it was like, let's break down the numbers to exactly what I need to do day one, which is just tell me the first goal. And for you all, that should be the fast track, right? forget your own personal fast track unless you're brand new. It's who you're going to bring in and how many people you're personally going to mentor and coach and run through the fast track. And it's like literally that simple. So it's when it comes to knowing your numbers, there's a lot of yeah, we can definitely talk about all of that, but there's lots of different pieces to it. And it's knowing who you're going to mentor and coach, right? So to the part of your question about customers, I realized when I saw this, I was like, well, I mean, we can all do the math on what we make on a customer. Like whether you're selling a product that's like $100 or $1,000, you're still only going to make so much. Like it's not, you're not going to get a $40,000 check doing that. Like it's not obviously, right? It's not possible. So my brain was like, okay, here's the strategy. You find a company that you love that feels so in alignment that you don't question anything. You find a product that you feel really compelled to share. And then that is the foundation of the build. So you're not forgetting about the customer. You're not forgetting that the customer experience, the stories is fundamentally necessary, but you're going out with confidence and you're having the conversation with business partners that see what you see. And you're asking people like, hey, are you open to blah, 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 right? And it's like, if you would, see it the way I saw it, here's how I feel about this. And like, are you open to a conversation? Usually, if you ask people if they're open to looking at it from a different perspective, they're going to say yes. The problem that I found is that most people are afraid to do it. And selling a really great product is easy, which is interesting because to me, it's way harder. I actually love talking about vision. If I don't have to sell anybody anything, like I'm perfectly happy. It doesn't, it, so, and most people that's not comfortable for them. So for me, I was like, well, what's the steps that need to happen to get to like that vision, right? So okay, so if I want to make $35,000 a month 6 months from now, right? And that's just what my scenario was 14 years ago when I first started in this industry. Okay, well, what's the roadmap? So the roadmap for me is I'm going to have a lot of conversations, and every single conversation is going to be about my vision. It's going to be about my why. It's going to be why I'm doing this. It's going to be about business. And I remember training leaders, right? Like really great leaders that were like, oh, no, 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 no. Like, we lead with the product. The product is amazing. We tell everybody about the product. No, no, no. There's money issues. Like, you can't be, a healer and make money and profit off people. And like, it's just so warped, right? It's like so messed up because great. So then you go get a job that you hate that sucks the life out of you because you still need, like, that's commerce. Like, people still are buying, people still need to make a living, and we force them into some sort of a paradigm that sucks because we're afraid to shift their mindset into something that's more abundant, something that's more beautiful. So my mindset going into it, like I said, it was, how do I win this game? And the only way I knew how to win the game was to bring other people in because I realized I cannot do that by myself. And so every conversation I had was, I don't want to say about business. I want to say it was about vision as a partner in business. And there's never a time that a conversation about vision and partnership didn't include product. Because I never said, hey, you guys, like, listen, so this is my pyramid scheme. It's so epic. I want you to join it. No, 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 we're not going to talk about the product. Don't even worry about that. Like, can't, no, 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 shh, we don't know. Just join me and I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Right. So, of course, the product is part of every conversation. And I think that's where the people that are very comfortable in product and not comfortable moving kind of out of that think, oh, well, I have to. Well, it's actually hard because, like, let's just say, for example, that you're sharing some, $500 product and they're like, oh, it's not my budget. I don't get it, blah, blah, blah. And you get a lot of resistance. What's the likelihood that you're going to go, oh, I totally get it. I get that it's not for you, but hey, would you be open to being my business partner and like selling the product that you just said wasn't for you? That's so awkward, right? And so when I heard that people were doing this, I was like, this just seems so backwards. But if you are talking about your vision and where you're going and this community that you're building, and you're like, look at all these beautiful women and like this amazing life that we're living and all the things that we're doing. And they're like, I'm so happy for you. It sounds amazing. It sounds like you found your thing. I cannot wait to, hear your story. I'm not in a place to take it on right now, but I would love to try your product. It's obviously amazing. You're building a whole business around it. And next thing you know, you have a customer. And then maybe that customer turns into a referral source because they love your product. And maybe they do turn into a business builder at some point later down the line. And maybe they don't. And if they don't, that's okay too. But it's much easier to have them fully connected to why you're doing it and connected to the vision of what you're building. Because even if they don't become your customer, if you don't push them, they can still cheer you on. It's still an ally in this space. Like it's still a relationship and it's a relationship business. So for me, I think a lot of people miss the mark because they have that product conversation on repeat and they forget why we're really here and what it is that we need to scale.
Oh my gosh, so powerful. And, when we talk about numbers, it's like some people, it may be 100 conversations to find three partners. Some people, it might be 10. And so I really believe, like right now, especially setting up the foundation, like if you're not in a place where you have your three leaders or your six leaders or the people that you're going with, it's really about saying, I'm going to have as many conversations as it takes to get there. And like Cindi said, going through the fast track, like helping people go through the fast track to really set a foundation up. And from the fast track, that's where we can really dive into the numbers and the percentages and having a roadmap. And so if we were to take kind of that what we were talking about, Cindi, when I was with you, and like bring it down small. So fast track for people looking to have three leaders, and then you want to stack some leaders. Can you kind of give that big picture of like what that looks like as a foundation, just to give a bigger picture of like why it's so important to really stack conversations right now to find those people?
Yeah, so I mean, on a traditional unit-level compensation plan, you can build infinite levels wide, right? So there's two main types of compensation plans. There's the unilevel and the binary. And for those of you that have been part of a company with a binary, you're building two legs, and one of them is often, it depends on how you land, but often a power leg and has a lot of volume. And or sometimes you are not on the power leg and then you have two legs with nothing, which happens to half the people. But for the half that are on the power leg, there's this really sexy, exciting, like, oh my gosh, I see all this movement underneath me. And then you feel inspired because what happens on a binary is you don't get paid if you don't cycle, meaning that both of your legs have to be equally strong. Okay. And so the exciting part of a binary compensation plan is just that. Like you see people underneath you, you see momentum, it's exciting. The part of the binary that I don't love is that when it falls fast. And the fallout of like losing a leg is just basically like it could completely destroy your business overnight. So every comp plan has their pluses and minuses, of course. Unilevel is potentially a slower build because you don't have that, I'm going to have all these people under me. I have 10,000 people. Like you're going to build it starting, whether it's two legs, three legs, four legs, one leg, 20 legs, but you're going to get paid on everything you do, no matter what. It's going to be a monthly pay. And at the end of the month, everything you do is going to cash out into your wallet. Whether it's one leg or whether it's 10, it doesn't matter. Even one leg, there's no cycling, there's none of that, right? So the great part is you know what you're going to get. And a unilevel, if you work hard and you bring in these people, it's your money, period. There's no, you know, tricking or formula. It's just, it is what it is. And you also have to be able to build it. Like, because if you now, with most unilevels, most of them have some sort of a formula where you need three legs, not to get paid, just to be clear, not to get paid on your orders, because unilevels will always pay you on the sales, but to get bonuses like through ranking. Because a big part of any network marketing company is and should be, if you look through comp plans, some kind of a reward for leadership, not just orders, right? Because just orders is affiliate. So the leadership component is going to be getting them paid on like layers of leaders, which is not just volume, but it's like how many leaders do you create, like how your structure is. And so with a typical unilevel compensation plan, you might have like three legs. And if you don't have like say a quartz in each leg, or you don't have a crystal in each leg, you might have the volume for said rank, but you can't actually achieve it because you didn't create the leaders in each one. So it can be a little bit of a complex formula in that respect, which is, again, like I said, there's always a plus and minus in a comp plan. But the good part about the unilevel is that you get paid on everything you do, even if you don't like get those next ranks. So to the question you're asking then, Gigi, like, well, what does it mean to like stack and to have our, compensation plan? Well, it is unilevel. So it means you get paid on everything you do. But what we are creating right now is this three-leg kind of uh, holding tank where you don't see this yet. You can manually do this, but this is where the IT is being built out, where when somebody comes in, there's going to be this holding tank of all of your new partners, and you're going to be able to retain the sponsorship as your level one, but stack them in three legs. And so why is that really exciting? Because it brings like that sexiness of a binary where people can be stacking under you and you're like, oh my God, I have 10 new people under me today because somebody else in your team, in your lineage above, stacked them, but you didn't have to lose your sponsorship and you still got paid commission on everything you did because it doesn't require you to have, you can put it all in one leg. You don't need a second leg for a cycle, but we're going to have a bonus pool that will incentivize the three-leg growth because that's stability, right? And we don't really want you to just be one hit wonder, get one partner, right? Gigi, you enroll Carol and Carol does millions of dollars and you never enroll anyone else. Like you're gonna get paid on what Carol does, yes, but you're not gonna max out your real potential with Lumi because you had just one person. So there's going to be benefit of really building leaders. And then what I would suggest that all of us are doing is identifying who the three top leaders are that we really want at the top of our legs. Because that's going to be a pretty coveted spot, knowing that your leaders above you are going to have a three-leg build and everything is going to go in there. And it's never going to be completely equal. I mean, just reality, no matter how much you try. But the goal would be to have three really strong legs. So whether it's like 10K, 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 100K, 100K, 100K in each leg, that would be the goal to continue to stack. And so you could stack for different reasons. You could stack for maybe it's a reward, maybe you're like, this leader is showing up in a big way. And I think that they're a big help to me, right? Maybe you're like, hey, Christy is like a great mentor and a great coach. And so I want to give her these five because personally, I can only mentor so many people. Right. And so, Vanessa, you might be like, okay, Gigi might be your strongest leg, for example. You might be like, I get tons of volume under Gigi, but I'm going to put people under her anyway because even though it's a small sacrifice while I'm building my other two legs, these three people I know Gigi will mentor and coach, and that's going to take this off my plate so that I can then go really focus on this one, right? There's different strategies and different reasons. You may build out one stronger than the others for a short moment and then plug back so that you can create momentum. And when somebody new comes in, you'll have a 30-day holding tank where you could say, okay, for example, I'm prospecting. I have these 7 people that are sitting in my holding tank. I haven't decided which leg to put them on yet. But while they're in the holding tank, you go and bring in this like really badass leader. And you're like, hey, or maybe you're talking to this really badass leader and you're like, hey, if you come in, I have 7 leaders that I could give you right now to help you get a jump start in your business. So you can use what other action you have and your activity as leverage to build your team. So it's a nice way to kind of blend and the best of both. And I would be thinking, so who are the 3 people that I feel most comfortable with leading? Not because like you're my best friend and I want you to do well, not because I feel bad, none of that. Because the truth is, like, you want those people to help you. Like it's so sweet and kind when you're like, oh, I love this person, I'm going to put him on top. And you're like, it doesn't work, right? So really, I would just be looking at who is the person that could absolutely help take that leadership. Who's the person that helps you level up? Like if you have someone in your team and you're like, they're 10 times better than me at this, whether it's marketing, whether it's coaching, whether it's leading Zooms, whether it's social media, it doesn't matter. Like if there's a skill set that they're strong at and they will help you, that's the type of person. And consistency. Who are the people showing up on this call with your team? Who are the people that are showing up on the corporate calls? Who are the people that are constantly bringing people, to all of the events? Like those are the things I would look at. Why? Because all this business is about duplication. That's it. There's one word, it's duplication. If you don't duplicate, you're not going to scale. So once you figure out like, okay, this is how I'm going to build this, these are my three legs, then the next step is like, well, who's the top of these three legs? Because yes, they're going to build, but you're building more, you have more than three if you're a leader, right? So you're like, okay, let's say I have 10. Maybe you're going to stack like three, three, and three. And maybe they're not the top of your leg, but if they're three spots down, and a year from now, there's 100,000 people on that leg. Spot three and spot one is really not any different. Like they're at the top of a huge build. So getting in now, super important. And also how you show up now so that your leader knows, okay, this person's serious. I want to make sure they're at the top because they're going to be part of, part of a seven-figure build with me is it's really special. It'll create energy. And, as we build out this part of the comp plan, it'll make more sense because you will be able to see it in the back office. But right now it's just being done manually.
Thank you. You make it so simple to see. And I know like Vanessa's been talking for several months about who are your three. And like if we're looking at numbers, big picture, it's like, yeah, the numbers matter. And next week we're going to calculate the PV. And I'm going to take you through what Cindi took me through so that we can calculate our month because I want to practice. So let's practice together. And yet, right now, like as we're going into November, which is a huge month, and I want you to really think like, okay, November is going to be a huge push month before December when things kind of taper and then Christmas happens. And how are we setting up our businesses to have the biggest, like network marketing, January, February, March is the biggest, right? And so right now, how many conversations, knowing your numbers, how many conversations are you committed to having to really locate those 3, 6, or 9 through November and help them go through the fast track? And that really gets to be the focus, and everything else is bonus. And we'll learn it together so that we can increase our own percentages. Yet my wish is that we all have 6 solid leaders going into December that are on track. And maybe that's going to take a lot of conversations, but you're committed to refining your vision, your mission. And that's something that I know Vanessa will anchor in. And I know we're a little bit over time, so we'll just take a few more minutes. But Cindi, is there anything else that really like when it comes to the numbers, to the build and network marketing in general, is there anything else that is like deeply on your heart? Because I know that you see the macro picture of LumiVitae, and that's why right now you're helping us with the micro. And I would love to know if there's anything like just kind of pulsing on your heart to share. And I appreciate you. And hopefully we'll bring you on more often to go through this stuff because it makes such a difference to hear it from you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I would say, okay, so knowing your numbers is many different conversations because there's so many facets to it. But right now you have 3 days left in the month. Know where you were last month and then know what kind of level you want to scale this business at. So for example, like have a growth chart, and I think Gigi might have shared the document already with you guys, but it's literally spelled out like what is 10% growth, what is 20% growth, what is 30% growth, and really keep it simple. So if you did 10K last month and you are wanting to grow at 10%, then you're going to do 11K this month. 12K if it's 20%, et cetera, right? So very simply, figure out how fast you want to scale. Because if you look at that chart and you're like, whoa, the difference between scaling at 10% versus 20% versus 30% is monumentally different. So figure out your growth pace. If you want to grow 1%, it is totally fine, just grow. I suggest you look at how much faster the compound effect works if you do 20 or 30%. But if that's not for you, just grow. Just don't go back because the start, stop is toxic in this space. It's toxic in any space, but you're constantly, every time you take your foot off the gas, like imagine you're going up a hill, you come right back down. Every person that you have is going to feel your energy. So you're not building all of a sudden and then they stop and then they stop. And then what do you need to do? You need to recruit again, as opposed to all of these people are working. There's so much energy. You're recruiting on top of what you have. It's eventually just going to get you over the hill. And then you're in a completely different position coasting down. So you don't want this start stop. And how do you avoid that is you know your numbers and you make sure you're always in the green. Never end in the red. Do everything you can to not end in the red. So figure out where were you at last month. I suggest you look at PV, not LV. LV is wonderful. It gets you to your rank faster, but I would still look at what's commissionable. I would still look at like what income you have coming in and increase your PV. And then simple formula is you want to figure out who your leaders are and do this for them. Because if you can figure out, well, my leaders are going to do this amount, and this amount, then you automatically know what your formula is. And let's say you're going for Crystal, which is 50K, right? And you did all the math for what you have in your team, and your team is coming up to 40K. Well, okay, I'm going to count on them for this forecast. I'm 10K short to get to my own personal forecast, and I need to go recruit and bring that in. And so 3 days left in the month, I would be focusing on making sure you end respectable in how you want to show up. What is the contribution that you want to have to Lumi? And if you can shift the mindset of like what I want Lumi to do for me to like what I want to do for Lumi, it changes everything. And if you're like, okay, I want to be this percent of the growth of Lumi, and you do that, everything will work. So the last 3 days, I would focus on the promotion for the month, and I would always do this. So right now, Genesis packs. It's going to help with both things, right? It's going to help with the promotions that Gigi was talking about. It's going to get you points for all of these amazing trips, but it's also going to help you get to the percent increase, which might get you a new rank. And it may or may not get you a new rank. You can't rank every month, but you can grow. And you grow, you're going to create more ranks underneath you. You're going to create more ranks for yourself, even if it's not every month. And that's what I would do right now. That's what I would be laser focused on. And then I would switch gears on the first, and I would map out your month. And by map out your month, I would know if you want to be 10% more, 20% more, 30% more. I would take that number and then I would divide it by 30 in November. And then I would know exactly what I need to do every day collectively as a team, not just personal. It's always a team effort in order to achieve it. Because if you can stay ahead of pace, those last 3 days, as chaotic as it can be, when all of you are like, I'm getting my 10, I have 3 days left and I know I'm doing it. It's probably a lot easier on your nervous system if you do it from the beginning and you're not having to do it. Although there's so much fun in that last minute, like, we're doing it, we're doing it. And I will tell you, I have seen leaders like literally do 50% of their business in 24 hours. And I'm not joking when they're like, no way, I'm not missing it. I'm not missing it. And they rally the troops and they're like, let's go team, let's go team. And yes, your nervous system needs a little reset from it, but it is kind of fun to watch too, because there is this like super great, just kind of energy around it. But if we could start out the month strong, I'll just say that not only not only is it easier on your nervous system, you might end up at a higher goal than you ever thought was possible because you start by being ahead of goal instead of constantly trying to play catch up. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Cindi. That's like so valuable. And I know we're over time, but I'd love to just turn it over to Vanessa to anchor it in. And Cindi, just thank you for the continuing to paint the vision bigger and brighter. And that's one of the reasons that I feel so grounded and anchored into this build is because of what you bring. And so thank you. I hope that was valuable for everyone, and that we can keep moving together, looking at this as a business and bringing in leaders. So thank you, Cindi.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cindi. This is so helpful because, and I think this is what I'm getting from this conversation. Notice how you're feeling right now. If you're feeling triggered at all, this is where the invitation is. Let's lean into the money conversation and let's make sure that you are open to it, because the numbers is at the end of the day what's going to move your business. I've been speaking to most of you individually and you all have big goals, like multiple 5, 6 figures even per month is what you're calling in. And yet we have a hard time looking at the numbers. So I loved, Jen, that you brought this in and that you brought in the fact that, you even called yourself out on it. You're like, damn, I've been hiding behind Hayden on this, and so we are all strong leaders. We get to do it. And here's the cool thing, like our team is just really, really powerful. We have incredible people with experience. We have people like mentors, people that, we get paid 5, 6 figures to do what we do per month. So let's lean on each other. If you have leaders, and let's make sure we're calling in leaders. I think that's also one big thing that Cindi just said, let's call in the leaders that we want to play with, that we want to build with, and let's use each other. So reminder of using 3-way calls. You're not trying to do this alone. We get to do it together. 3-way calls. I loved also like how Cindi, you just shared, because with leaders, a conversation around money comes up pretty fast. Uni level, you get paid on everything you generate. Like, that's pretty awesome. You don't need to cycle, like you get paid on everything. And at the same time, we get to build depth, and we get to have access to bonus pools and ranks with our 3 legs and 3 leaders. So I love, Carol. I just want to close by saying, Carol, what you said about your pitch. Like, I'm in my 7-figure build right now, and I'm looking for women who want to partner with me in this female founded company and help take it to $1 billion and capitalize on that. Looks like to be one of the first. Is that you? Like, who is gonna say no to that? That is freaking epic and magnetic. So this is the vibe we all need to have. And first of all, of course, like I always say, make sure that you believe that about yourself. Make sure that you believe that you are this leader that can do that with all of us. So, oh my gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Cindi. This was so epic. Thank you, Jen, for your leadership and your light as always. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and also a reminder, the quad. So Carol, Jen, Jess, and I are starting our Friday lives for the entire month of November on Instagram. So it'll be every Fridays. We're going to do an IG live at 11 Eastern time. And this is to ignite the field. So plug people into it, invite people into it. I'm going to share our little visuals. Be sure to invite your leaders into this conversation. It's going to be irresistible. And Jen, thank you for doing the Blitz call. This is how you learn how to invite from the pro. Thank you.